what's up guys, welcome to Munchkins Gaming, where we take your gaming to the next level. This is Munchkins logging in to bring you your Brave Cross Hero of the Week. This week's Hero of the Week is the faded version of our lovely Miko, Chanteuse. Chanteuse is considered as a mid-support hero with ratings of B+ for survivability, A+ for DPS, and A+ for support. Her main skill, of course, has been upgraded to Sparrow Dirge, I think Ashura. I believe it is called Sparrow Dirge Ashura thanks to the faded version. Now, unfortunately for us, this main skill is not has not been translated or has been put on into the main skill. So all I can tell you is the main difference between Sparrow Dirge and Sparrow Dirge Asura. Now, Sparrow Dirge Asura is basically the upgraded version of Sparrow Dirge. The main difference being it basically the first hit lifts up the enemy units just like Great Sage's Awakening, and of course it damages the opponent a few times. Now, unfortunately, really there's no percentage damage or anything like that that can let us know. So we have to move on to her basic attack. Her basic attack still remains the same, where basically she fires a piercing sonic blast which deals 180% attack damage to its first target, and subsequent targets receiving 20% less damage. Each target restores 6 rage to all friendly units. Damage doesn't increase target's rage. Now, Asura's Dance is her new talent. Basically, if you guys haven't seen my Hero of the Week of the normal Chanteuse, I will leave a description below. Even though it is 8 months ago, I still feel I did a good Hero of the Week for Chanteuse, and I did her justice. So now let's talk about the new talents she gains for her Fate equipment. Asura's Dance is Chanteuse gets a permanent Warhawk that has equal attack as Chanteuse. Warhawk deals 100% attack damage that ignores 70% defense to a random enemy unit every 4.5 seconds. Each time it attacks, it steals 5 rage for Chanteuse. Awakening is upgraded into Sparrow Dirge Asura, which we already have spoken about. Seer's Boom, Seer Shell, Clairvoyance, and Raging Assault, of course, are all self-explanatory, and I won't go through too much about them. So now that we've basically covered her new abilities, let's go through the pros and cons. As always, we'll start with the pros. Of course, the pro is basically more defense, more HP, more DPS for Chanteuse. The biggest difference is, of course, Asura's Dance, where you will get the permanent Warhawk, dealing 100% attack damage, so basically the same attack power as Chanteuse, that ignores 70% of a random enemy. So this is every 4.5 seconds, which definitely increases Chanteuse DPS. But of course, the main difference here is going to be Sparrow Dirge Asura. Now, Sparrow Dirge Asura basically, like I said earlier, lifts up the enemy units. Basically, they will be unable to attack or defend or anything else. They will pretty much be taking a lot of damage from Chanteuse. And from experience, really, I feel like her Awakening is a little bit longer than her Sparrow Dirge. So Sparrow Dirge Asura feels a little bit longer. However, I could be wrong, and unfortunately, like I said, there is no description about this skill, so we don't know how much damage she's dealing, and if the only difference is basically the first initial hit, or of course there's reducing defense as well, which unfortunately we really can't tell what's happening here in Sparrow Dirge Asura. But I do feel she does a lot more DPS, and of course the crowd control ability is probably second to none. Of course there's pros and cons to the crowd control ability, just like Great Sage. However, I feel like this this pro outweighs the cons. So now that I've pretty much covered the new pros, we'll talk about the cons. And the con is basically for Sparrowdirge Asura. The only con I can think of is obviously none of your units can attack if the opponent is lifted up. However, and this is the biggest point where I say there's a line between pros and cons when it's regarding Sparrowdirge Asura. And this is basically, there are some heroes that can definitely still attack the enemy units, even though they are floating up above in the air. And these are awakenings such as Fated Frostbow's Awakening can definitely hit them. And of course, there's a lot more. Even your main hero's Awakening can hit them from up above. So there's definitely a few heroes that can benefit from Chanteuse. Now, unfortunately, there are some heroes that won't benefit as much from Fated Chanteuse Awakening. And of course, these are your melee units. And of course, I would like to point out that Sohi doesn't really benefit from this at all. So basically, she'll be using a lot of her Awakening basically hitting air. So I must say that there is a line between pros and cons, whereas before Chanteuse basically has a lot of pros for her going for her, and there's not much cons. But because of this new crowd control ability from Sparrowdirge Asura, you may have to compose a team that can benefit a lot from Chanteuse, or should I say Fated Chanteuse. Now that we've covered the pros and cons of Fated Chanteuse, what do I think of Fated Chanteuse? So, I definitely think there's a lot of pluses for Fated Chanteuse. I mean, just the DPS alone and the more survivability is definitely a plus for me. PvE wise, it's still the same. However, I must say that I probably wouldn't be taking her into Mountain Bandit as much as I would like to. Now, if for any reason they actually increase Mountain Bandit's HP, and I am currently using Chanteuse in my Mountain Bandit because I can basically kill Mountain Bandit really easily now without needing to change my team. But with Fated Chanteuse, to maximize the DPS for your entire team, she will lift that Mountain Bandit up. So that means there is a lot of DPS loss when it comes to your heroes. So for example, Sohi is the biggest damage dealer in terms of raw DPS alone in regards to Mountain Bandit, so you won't be able to capitalize this. And of course, the normal attack, even with Fated Frostbow, it's not gonna hit the Mountain Bandit when he's up there. So there's definitely a con in some way in there. So in PvE, I probably would take her anywhere except but the Mountain Bandit. So in PvP, well, there's definitely a lot of plus for if you have a Fated Chanteuse. So because of DPS alone, you probably would want to take Fated Chanteuse all in all. Now, I do want to say that I did not mention this in the cons earlier, but the biggest con I can think of right now is basically getting her Fated version. So it costs a lot of money and, well, costs a lot of gems if you do have a lot of gems, and you have to wait for a event to when they try and give out Fated Chanteuse pieces. Apart from that, I do believe that Fated Chanteuse is a hero worth taking anywhere, but yeah, you have to be careful about the Mountain Bandit part. Anyway guys, that's all for this video. Remember to click like, subscribe, and share this video if you find it helpful at all. As always, I would like to hear from you guys what you think of FATED Chanteuse, and if you have gotten FATED Chanteuse yet. This is Munchkins logging off, and I'll see you guys in the next level.